Joseph Stalin, the dictator of the Soviet Union, died on the 5th of March 1953. Based on both the clinical history and autopsy findings, it was concluded and officially declared that the former dictator had died of a massive hemorrhagic stroke involving his left cerebral hemisphere. However, numerous speculations and conspiracy theories have emerged over the decades surrounding Stalin's death, mainly stemming from the mysterious nature of it, as well as the general distrust towards the word of the Soviet government. In early 1952, Stalin's personal doctor, Vladimir Vinogradov, began to observe a significant overall change for the worse in the Soviet leader's health. Unfortunately for the doctor, Stalin himself didn't seem to agree, going as far as to order the arrest of Vinogradov for merely suggesting that he should take some time off from state affairs. However, the dictator could not live in denial for long. A year later, in mid-February of 1953, Stalin left the Kremlin for the last time to visit his personal seasonal home, or dacha, at Konsevo outside of Moscow. There are conflicting reports of what happened next, but it is believed that after a routine night of heavy drinking until the early hours of March 1st, the guards posted outside of Stalin's personal suite became alarmed when there was no sound from their master all day. The guards, however, did not dare venture into Stalin's room, as they knew that if the dictator had been fine all along, he would have certainly executed them for disturbing his private space. This had actually happened before. It is believed that Stalin, on one occasion, had faked a heart attack in order to see if his guards would disobey his strict orders to never enter his private suite under any circumstances. One young officer had made the mistake of checking on Stalin to see if he was okay, and he was executed for it. These guards weren't going to make the same mistake. Eventually, after about 12 hours, a maid finally entered the room and reportedly found the dictator lying on the floor in a pool of his own piss. Not until the next day, with Stalin paralyzed and speechless, were finally doctors summoned to the property. Almost too frightened to touch him, they announced that he had suffered a massive stroke. The terror of Joseph Stalin's Soviet Union had finally come to an end. However, this wasn't the end of his story. The Soviet government was notorious for covering up sensitive state affairs and manufacturing false information on a regular basis. So much so that they would even go as far as fabricating historical events that had happened within the lifetimes of Soviet citizens themselves. Hence, the popular Soviet phrase, "The government is changing history so fast, no one knows what's going to happen yesterday," emerged. Understandably, neither the Soviets nor the rest of the world were convinced that Stalin had naturally died of a stroke due to complications of old age. For decades, conspiracy theories and speculations have been made that the former Soviet dictator had been poisoned by those close to him for political or revenge-based motives. This remained for the longest time a matter of historical intrigue, but in the early 2000s, a number of historians began conducting serious research on the subject of Stalin's potential murder. Relying on a previously secret account by doctors who were supposedly present during Stalin's final days, it is proposed that the Soviet leader may have been poisoned during a final dinner with 4 members of his Politburo. It is believed that the substance in question was warfarin, a tasteless and colorless blood thinner that is also oftentimes used as a rat killer. This theory, in part, is based on early drafts of a report written by these doctors, which allegedly shows that Stalin suffered extensive stomach hemorrhaging during his final death throes. It is believed that significant references to stomach bleeding were excised from the 20-page official medical record, which was not issued until June 1953, more than 3 months after Stalin's death. 4 Politburo members were at the dinner in question: Lavrenti P. Beria, then the chief of secret police, Georgy M. Malenkov, Stalin's immediate successor, Nikita S. Khrushchev, who eventually rose to the top spot, and also Nikolai Bulganin. Beria supposedly boasted of killing Stalin on May Day 2 months after his death. He is reported as having said, "I did him in, I saved all of you," during a conversation with Vyacheslav M. Molotov, another Politburo member. This interaction, however, is only described in Khrushchev's 1970 memoirs, Khrushchev Remembers. However, Khrushchev's accounts of Stalin's death are oftentimes entirely dismissed by historians as being an almost cartoonish distortion of the truth. With virtually everyone connected to the case now dead, the real story and circumstances of Stalin's death may never be known. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe to our channel for more content.